The Intercity 125 high-speed train has been plying the British rails for the past 40 years, but the last one will be travelling on cross-country trains next week on Monday. Today might be my last chance to commute to work on one, so let's see how we get on. Today, like every other day, I'm arriving at York railway station with my trusty companion, guide dog Geo. Today though, we won't be rushing straight to our platform for our train to Leeds, but rather trying to find a good spot to see the high-speed train arrive. Stepping out onto platform 3, there was an unmistakable and pretty loud noise coming from the other platform. It's one of TransPennine Express's Nova 3 trains, another train which is sadly due for the chop pretty soon. Just like the high-speed train, I think it provides a pretty comfortable ride for passengers, with power provided from locomotives rather than under the carriages. That locomotive does provide a pretty incredible noise when it leaves though. Anyway, on to the business of the day, namely waiting around on platform 3, trying to look inconspicuous as trains came and went, waiting for the Intercity 125 to arrive. After a wait of about 25 minutes, we're nearly there now, with the announcements finally heralding the arrival of the 0844 cross-country train service to Plymouth on platform 5A. For me, as a visually impaired person, the sound of this train is just as familiar as the look of it. That hiss of the pneumatic systems, the roar of the engine at either end, and, as we'll see when we get on board, that all too familiar and maybe slightly annoying squeaking between the carriages.
Right, Joe.
But we've got no time to loiter.
Find right, Joe.
We have a train to catch.
Big boy. Keep going, big boy. Find the way. Let's go. Keep going.
One of the joys of working a guide dog rather than swishing a long cane is getting them to find the door of the train. Try doing that with a lump of carbon fibre.
Okay, find the door. Find the door. No, next door. Next door. Next door. Right, let's hop on. That's a good boy. Okay, let's go right. Good boy. Keep going. Keep going.
With big thanks to a fellow passenger for moving out of a priority seat, Geo got a lovely big space to lie down in, and I got a seat by the window. You'll have to excuse my not so nonchalant posing face. Anyway, we're about to leave now, just a few minutes late. And as we roll out of York, let me explain a little bit about why I've made such a point of travelling on and filming this train today. First of all, the Intercity 125 is not just an iconic train, but it's a record-breaking train. It still holds the record today for the fastest diesel-powered train in the world at 148 miles per hour. Secondly, I think that the travelling experience for passengers on trains like this, with carriages between locomotives rather than with engines underneath them, is so much more comfortable. No juddering, no whining of electrics. It makes for a really pleasant ride that one doesn't get from other trains today. And thirdly, for me, it represents a really tangible link with the past. It's not just familiar, but it's intrinsically linked with important journeys that I took when growing up. Journeys to visit my grandparents when young, or to travel to university when a little bit older, both on the East Coast Main Line. Journeys to and from college on the Great Western Main Line. And various journeys as a young person right across the network, visiting towns and cities I've never been to before, building my independence and my confidence travelling not just as a young person, but as a visually impaired person. Many of those journeys were taken on high-speed trains, and that's why it's so important to me, not just to have a last ride on the train, but maybe to say goodbye to it, to say goodbye to a part of my past. I'm not sure how much I'll miss that squeaky communication corridor though. Today's high-speed train service started its journey in Edinburgh over 2 hours ago and will finish it in Plymouth in 5 hours' time. Our part of the journey from York to Leeds, at only 20 minutes long, is a pretty short segment therefore. We headed south out of York down the East Coast Main Line for a short distance before branching southwestwards at Colton Junction and then passing through stations at Ullerskelf, Church Fenton, Micklefield, East Garforth, and Crossgates before reaching the Neville Hill depot where so many of the East Coast Main Line trains, amongst others, are maintained and stored. By now, our short journey was almost at an end as we travelled along the final section of track between Neville Hill and Leeds City Station. This section is severely constrained and often subject to delays. There are only 2 tracks weaving their way along a narrow viaduct perilously close to buildings in the city centre. Soon though, we were transiting the station throat and arriving on platform 12, just a little behind schedule. Today's train is living on borrowed time. I made this journey on Thursday the 14th of September 2023, and in just 4 days' time, on Monday the 18th of September, a cross-country high-speed train will make the journey from Plymouth to Leeds, arriving around 11:30 in the evening, marking the end of the use of Intercity 125s on the cross-country network.